Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Growfold, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at the Lowe's off of Highway 121 in McKinney, Texas. As always, please make sure you're hitting that like button as well as following me on Instagram at Growfold. Would love to connect with all of our plant foldies. And if you're new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. So today is a beautiful morning and I wanted to see what plants we have at a big box store like Lowe's. I wanted to see what outdoor plants we have as well as those indoor tropical plants. Super excited to show you this. And you know, filming in the morning, I'm based out in North Dallas. It is a little bit more bearable because the temperatures are not quite 100 degrees yet, but you can see that this Lowe's actually has quite a bit of plants. For some of the big box stores that I've visited, especially at Walmart in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it looks like a lot of these Walmarts are actually downsizing some of their plants, but it looks like at least for the Lowe's that I've visited, they've got quite a bit of plants both outdoors and indoors as well. So I'm excited about that. And you can see right here, plant foldies, we do have a variety of succulents and also these flowering plants like the vinca plants. Here are a bunch of these aloes. And you know what's exciting about these plant shopping videos is I've been able to do these mostly on a daily basis. So if you like daily plant shopping videos, definitely hit the subscribe button with the notification bell on. But for those that have been following my journey for the last year or close to about half a year, I really appreciate it. I utilize a lot of these plant shopping videos as more of like a personal blog as well. So I'll be able to talk to you about what's going on with my personal life and just all of the plant commentary. I've seen quite a bit of plant foldies on the live premiere chats, and that's something that draws me to you guys is the fact that we do have a plant foldy community. And what's really exciting is as we look at all of these beautiful plants is PlantCon 2024 in Dallas is almost here. August 31st, September 1st. So I am super excited to be meeting a lot of the plant foldies here, both local and out of state. I don't have quite all of the details, but if you see me wearing a Growfolds t-shirt, you know that's me. And I will be having some Growfolds t-shirts on sale for you guys as well. So if you're interested, let me know. I might have some giveaways and things like that. But I'm thinking if we are going to do a meetup, our central point should be at Peta's Planters booth. Now, if you haven't seen my Peta's Planters plant shopping videos, that is one of my favorite small businesses in the entire Dallas-Fort Worth area. I featured their plant shop, which is amazing. PETA is going to be there. So I figured why not just go ahead and meet up at that booth. It'd be an easy place to meet everybody or a central place where we can all just kind of congregate. I did want to also put out there that I will be filming tons of videos. And so if you are a plant foldie that wants to be in a cameo or wants to be interviewed by me and be featured in a plant video, please let me know in the comment section, or we can talk about it when I see y'all. But anyways, let's go back to the plants. So as you can see on a beautiful morning, we've got a bunch of these heat tolerant plants. So I've featured a couple of the flowering plants. There's a bunch of these tropical plants. We've got a bunch of hibiscus. Now we've got this really interesting Mexican bird of paradise. It's got an interesting texture to the leaves, but what I really like is also the blooms. Really like the look of it in the Philippines, and that's exactly where my family is from. The leaves look like what they call malunggay or moringa leaves, so that's always something that's kind of reminiscent about that. I tend to make references to the Philippines just because I recently came back from a vacation there, and when I tell you that plants in their native tropical environments, they show such beauty, such just care that you don't necessarily have to put in them because the environment and the climate alone is the natural plant care. But it's nice to see that they have quite a bit of plants at a big box store. So my thoughts on big box store plant shopping is obviously you'll find a variety of many easy to care for plants that are priced affordably, and then there's just so many supplies like planters, fertilizers, and things like that. So I will be talking about that as I pan around here, but you can see that this Lowe's tends to still have quite a bit of plants available. Like right here, we've got a European fan palm. Really like the look of that, and you can see that the price is not that bad for a European fan palm. The only thing about palms in general is their care is that they do require quite a bit of light. So if you can't provide the light, it's really challenging to grow them indoors. And depending on your grow zone, like my grow zone is 8B. Some of these palms may not be able to grow in the landscape because we do have very cold winters. We have some really hard freezes, and that's just not really conducive to like a tropical plant. So you just have to look at your grow zone. Now, if you are in a grow zone that's a little bit more tropical, like Florida, then that's a different story. But you can see here so many interesting little cactus as well. Like, look at this cactus. It's super like fuzzy. It looks like there's a bunch of like spider webs. What fascinates me about cactus is not only do they come in many different varieties, I like the textures, and I also like the blooms that these cactus and succulents produce. You can see over here, we do have quite a bit of succulents. We've got some mixed planters, and I do have 3 succulents in my plant collection, 2 Aeoniums, which are really pretty looking succulents, and I have a variegated jade bonsai that I made that's doing very well. The variegated jade bonsai is actually outside growing in full sun, and it's doing very well. The other 2 succulents are actually placed in a west facing window in my my master bedroom. So that's, you know, something that can give them a lot of light. I made the mistake of actually planting growing a bunch of succulents in full direct sun, south facing. They ended up just burning. So there is an acclimation period even for like full sun plants. That's something that I learned. But plant foliage, as you can see here, we've got quite a bit of lantana hanging baskets, and pretty much every single plant shopping video, if I'm, you know, featuring outdoor garden plants, you will see lantanas. Love lantanas. And then right over here, we've got some Zora plants. So these are tropical flowering shrubs. They definitely need to be in more of a tropical climate. Now, if you're going to grow them in my grow zone, like in North Texas, those would need to be in a planter with the potential overwintering. So meaning if you want to try to keep them alive past winter, you're going to need to have them in a container that you can bring indoors under a grow light. But you can see over here, they still have some of these Rodeo oyster plants, and I love pink plants. I love dark foliage plants, and I definitely love neon plants. So I will be showing you a lot of neon plants as well. But this Rodeo oyster plant is kind of like succulent in a sense, the texture of the leaves. Beautiful purple undersides, and I just really like the look of that. Now, it is a little bit more versatile in terms of where it can be in terms of lighting. It can be grown in the shade or in full sun, or at least that's what it is for me. And you can see here, look at this massive spider plant. Look at all the little babies that has produced. I find that so cool, and that's another plant that I have not quite added to my plant collection. I've seen it, I wanted to buy it, I just haven't really committed to it. And then here is a variegated boat lily. Love this as well. This is a nice plant because look at how beautiful the variegation is. This one needs to be in full sun, or at least quite a bit of light, for it to really have that amazing variegation. I had some of the pieces kind of break off, but they're easy to propagate. I was able to just get them in water, and that was easy to just get them to propagate some roots. So that's really cool. And this isn't a Grow Folds plant shopping video unless I feature a cordyline plant. This one is for $19.98. I love the look of cordyline plants. Some people try to grow them indoors, but they are very susceptible to spider mites. I wish I could honestly grow them successfully indoors. I've tried, they've gotten spider mites. So it's really a plant that needs to be outdoors. Now, in a tropical country like the Philippines, they were literally growing in the wild, in the jungle, on the sides of the roads, with no plant care, and they were absolutely stunning. So that's what makes me a little bit envious of tropical climates, especially if you love tropical house plants. We talk about plants being house plants or indoor plants, but any plant that you see that is being grown indoors in a house had to come from some source, most likely in a tropical area. But again, that is the thing about making plants, a plant collection. You've really got to look at the way you I guess the environment that you're going to place the plants. And what I mean by that is your lighting conditions, the amount of time you can provide, the humidity levels, the quality of water, all of that really factors into your plants, whether a plant is a climbing plant, if it needs some type of moss pole, or if it is a trailing plant, a plant that likes to crawl. There's so many things that we all have to learn for us to really be able to grow plants successfully, as well as the pot. Like these pots right here, my favorite pot is that pot that I picked up. Terracotta pots are amazing, but what's interesting about terracotta pots is they tend to dry out the soil or the substrate a little bit faster because it doesn't really hold the moisture. For me, that's not necessarily the best kind of pot because I don't really water my plants consistently. It is something I've talked about in so many of my videos, and it sounds like a basic plant care tip, but at the same time, when you have a very busy job and you're running around filming, plant shopping videos, sometimes the plants get neglected. I felt guilty at times in terms of just how the plants ended up suffering because of my negligence in my plant care. But it's something that I want to share with the plant foldy community. I just really feel like we see a lot of plant shopping videos, plants on Instagram, plants on social media, and some of these people have perfect plants collection. I'll tell you that no plant collection is perfect. We are not perfect by any means, so it's okay to have some plants make it to plant heaven. That's just kind of my opinion about it. And then in terms of just the products I use, so I use Super Thrive. That is always a good B vitamin solution you can put for plants that are stressed, for plants that you've just potted up or repotted. I recently imported plants from Green Spaces ID, and I use that as a solution to really rehydrate and de-stress the plant. These Scott's Bloom Booster is another fertilizer I use for blooming plants. I love Osmocote. That's really one of the best types of slow release fertilizers that really ensures that the plant gets the proper nutrients. Because when you think about it, just watering the plant may not be enough to really get the vigor or just the plant growth that we all desire. We do need to supplement it with some fertilizer. Like this one right here is the shake and feed one. Now I buy that actually at Costco in a big bowl, and I put it out in my outdoor section, but I also mix it in my soils that I custom make. I also use Miracle Grow Quick Start. That's really whenever I am potting up some of my water propagations. It really helps get the roots going. And then this is my all-purpose fertilizer. That is the fertilizer I use on a weekly basis for my plants, sometimes bi-weekly, twice a week. It's a really mild fertilizer, but it's enough to give it a boost. Now for my plants that are growing hydroponically, I put just a little tiny trace amount in the water, and I feel like that's enough nutrients for the plant. Now, as far as sphagnum moss for propagations and my moss poles, I use this sphagnum moss. Really, it's really for the orchids. And then I use orchid bark. I also use horticultural perlite. Perlite is amazing. That's something that you should probably put in your soil, custom soil mixes, because it helps the soil drain a little bit faster. Fast draining soil is really key, especially if you're growing plants indoors in a pot. You never really want your roots to sit in a lot of water unless it's one of those plants that is a very thirsty plant. In general, especially when it comes to philodendron or anthuriums and things like that, you want to make sure that they have some really good soil that has some aeration. Now we're going to walk into the indoor section right here. This is actually one of my favorite Lowe's just because they tend to have plants always being restocked. Like you can see right over here, this is a live transplanter with an air plant, and then you can see that there's just a lot of really cool modern looks. Like look at this an elephant here. I really like the look of just the planter. Hands down, Live Trends is probably the best and most stylish looking planters. It always brings me joy because my plant aesthetic, when it comes down to it, is I really like modern, contemporary, very clean lines, very neutral colors, just simplicity, because I want plants to really be the feature, not the pot. Now over here, we do have a clearance bromeliad here. This is actually a pretty one. The thing, my opinion about clearance plants is these are called rescue plants. Please rescue me. When I started doing plant shopping videos, I always thought about, trying to rescue every single clearance plant, but there are some cons about like rescuing clearance plants. And number one, it's really the plant pests that are probably lurking. Whenever a plant is not the healthiest, it tends to invite pests. And then also the rehabilitation portion of a clearance plant, because most clearance plants are put on clearance because they've really gotten unhealthy. So if you're willing to invest in rescue plants, more power to you. You just have to know exactly what you're dealing with when you're bringing a clearance plant. Now, this is a stunning looking Marantha Silver Band by Urban Jungle. So Urban Jungle is another, nursery or plant supplier that I love. They have this new hanging basket planter. Really like the look of it. And I just recently got me a Silver Band Marantha from a local grocery store called HEB for only $5. And I remember that Marantha is quite uncommon, or was quite uncommon a couple years back. And then over here is a Philodendron heteroecium. This one is a Costa Farms Trending Tropicals hanging basket for $20.98. Now, I found a similar one by Urban Jungle at a local grocery store called Kroger for $12.99. I'm actually tempted to purchase it because I love the heart-shaped leaves of a Philodendron heteroecium. They also call it a cordatum. I'm not sure what the difference is. So plant foldies, if you're the expert, let me know. And then this is another plant that was labeled as a collector's plant. So I'm not sure if this is a plant that's uncommon, rare, or whatnot. But what's interesting about it is it does have an interesting leaf texture. And then also the stems are fuzzy. There's just a lot going on with this plant. I also love the purple undersides of the leaves. That's the thing about leaf interest and leaf colors. That's the reason why there are certain plants that just have a lot of leaf interest, and that's the reason why people plant them. And then you can see right here, this is a Peperomia BB. So it almost looks like a lipstick plant. It is nice and lush. This is another hanging basket for $20.98. Now, as far as an easy care plant, I would always recommend Peperomias. They do require bright indirect light, fast draining soil, water when the soil is completely dry, and you are good to go. Now over here is a red Marantha. So we saw the silver band Marantha. Now here is the red Marantha, and look at how beautiful the leaves are. Like, I always look at just the details. It doesn't even look like a real leaf. It reminds me of like bird feathers. Something about this plant is really just stunning. It's just very elegant in the way the patterns look. And my thing about Maranthas is, while it's related to like maybe Calatheas and Stromanthus, Thananthes, it is one of the more forgiving plants. It's also known as a prayer plant. And then check out this tropical cactus. So this is a dogtail cactus. Really interesting one, also for $20.98. This is also by Costa Farms. And I'll tell you, Costa Farms plants, Costa Farms is really one of the premier big box store providers. I am so thankful for Costa Farms being able to provide us with some of these uncommon exotic plants, because they made it more accessible to just a plant lover like yourself. Like, if they didn't have that available, some of these plants would actually be quite expensive. But as I pan away here, look at how beautiful and full that this area is. I mean, they actually had to use a table to go ahead and place all of these hanging baskets. And that's the reason why I am always in a big box store. Like right here, look at this Dischidia. This is a cool looking Dischidia. And while it's not the variegated form, something about Dischidias also are endearing to me. I don't have any Dischidias in my plant collection. There's so many plants I want to add to my plant collection, but I have been able to at least get some of my plant collection under control. This is it's a struggle for me. Plant care. It can be a struggle for me, as much as I know about plants. You know how they always say you can give advice or tips, but sometimes it's best to learn to actually follow your tips. That is something that I will say I need to do a little bit better. Like, I know what I need to do with my plants, but it's a matter of am I actually executing the plant. So plant foldies, you already know I love comments. And to those that have actually left comments, from my plant videos, Thank you so much. But give me some of your thoughts about just your plant struggles, what you do to kind of get through it. Do you ever just kind of get demotivated? Because I tend to get demotivated when plants start to really decline in health, and the only person I can really turn to and blame is myself. So I've done better. I've done better about being more forgiving for myself. I've done better in terms of accepting what I can control, reevaluating the things that I need to do differently when a plant doesn't work out for me. Now over here, we do have a bunch of new urban jungle planters. So I featured this in another video, but look at how beautiful this Calathea is. This Calathea medallion for $22.98. Now Calatheas, they are the biggest temptress. They literally will tempt you to purchase these plants because look at how beautiful that is. Another plant that has some really nice leaf interest, but the problem is they don't always stay perfect, especially if you cannot provide them the ideal climate or growing conditions. Now, this is a plant that tends to be a little bit more forgiving. The only thing about Ficus elastica ruby, which is this right here, is you definitely need to give it light. I say this in every single video I talk about Ficus, but that is really the key. You want to give it as much light. In tropical countries, these Ficus elastica, or what you call rubber trees, can grow into full-blown trees that are 20 to 30 feet tall. And then can we say how beautiful this leaf is on the new Philodendron Summer Glory? So it's another philodendron that used to be a little bit more uncommon. What makes this philodendron quite interesting are a couple of things. Number one, the leaf shine. It's got a satin texture. Number two, the leaf, as it unfurls, it's red and then it becomes this like golden orange color. Love that a lot. This is actually a very easy philodendron to grow. It's one that's quite underrated if you ask my opinion. And then over here we have a Dracaena dorado. Now again, Dracaenas are so drought tolerant, they're forgiving, they're quite easy to take care of, and they're just another plant that I would recommend for anybody that is wanting to grow plants. If you're a beginner to houseplants, they are a little bit slower in growth, but they can get large in size. They are also known as the dragon tree plants. Many varieties of them. I love them as well. I have the tornado one that a lot of you plant folies, especially the ones in Canada. My shout out to my Canadian plant folies, have mentioned that they really haven't seen the tornado Dracaena. But as I pan away on this beautiful morning filming these plants, I just love admiring all of the new plants that I see at these big box stores. So you can see right over here, this is a Philodendron Birkins. Philodendron Birkins, I like Philodendron Birkins. I actually have one that's just growing in straight hydroponics, which is basically just water. But the thing about Philodendron Birkins is they are not created equal. Like, can you believe that this is a Philodendron Birkin as well? You can see that it doesn't really have any variegation. It looks almost like a Philodendron Green Princess. Now, this is for $15.98. Now, here's the thing about Philodendron Birkin. I think that Philodendron Birkin's variegation is influenced by either the amount of light it's getting, or it could be a combination of its just initial genetics. So you got to think, right? This one has some really good variegation as compared to the really green one. And then the first one I picked has decent variegation. So either it has to have like really good genetics with already like natural variegation, or it has to have like both, where it's got to have good variegation to get, to begin with, and then to enhance that variegation, you just need to give it a lot more light. So plant foldies, I'm really curious if you've grown Philodendron Birkin long term, if variegation is influenced either by the light or the natural genetics it has. I think it's both, but I lean toward more the light. So let me know in the comments what you think. But as I pan away over here, plant foldies, it's just so exciting to just show you all of these plants. I mean, look at how beautiful this Live Trends Dracaena Janet Craig compacta in a self-watering planter. And then look at this one right here. This is a new one right here. Look at how beautiful the texture of this actual planter is. There is something that's just really elegant about it. The only thing, and I've said this in all of my videos featuring Live Trends, I am not the biggest fan with the fake moss top dressing. I just feel like if they're gonna do top dressing, why don't they just use like very fine orchid bark or something of that nature? But anyways, this is not a bad price for $15.98. This one is a ficus ginseng. So you can see right here, this is a ficus ginseng. It really has a nice caudex or a trunk. And then you can see that the leaves are just green. I like the variegated form, so like the ficus benjanina variegated. And then you can see right here, a Pachira aquatica, just a green form. So one of my wish list plants at PlantCon is to be able to find a Pachira aquatica variegated form. Now, when I was in the Philippines, I saw really large specimens just hanging out in a planter at a public restaurant, and nobody was like, really gawking over it. It's quite interesting that in the Philippines, they don't really have what they call house plants. They just have these plants that grow outdoors, and they let nature kind of take care of it. So it's such an interesting concept when you think about a Southeast Asian country, and then when you think about at least plant care in North Dallas, a lot of these beautiful aroids and philodendrons, we work so hard to keep them alive indoors, whereas if in a tropical country, there's really no plant care. Like, I love the look of this particular Dieffenbachia by Urban Jungle. Look at that nice like white streak about it. There's sometimes just the little streaks or the margins or the borders of leaves that just really bring me a lot of joy. And this is another Dieffenbachia that I would love to add to my collection. $22.98 is the price. Dieffenbachias historically, at least for me, have been a very finicky plant. But again, I saw a bunch of large specimens in the Philippines. So plant foldies, if you haven't made it to my plant videos from the Philippines, I do have a plant playlist called Plant Tourism. Definitely check that out. I really want to kind of share my home country. I'm super proud to be Filipino. So if you're a Filipino plant foldie, please comment kababayan. I am super excited that I was able to connect with a kababayan who happens to work at Steve's Leaves. So hopefully we can connect at PlantCon and just get some content going. And I'm just really excited because as you can see, I do the majority of my videos, big box store videos, big box store plant shopping videos, but I also want to really diversify my content. I feel like while you guys have supported me with big box store plant shopping videos, I think I am ready to really show you some of my personal plants. I definitely love featuring local plant nurseries out in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so that's going to be a thing. I will be doing more imports from Indonesia. Thank you to those that watched the Green Spaces ID unboxing video. I literally had an amazing just an amazing experience with Green Spaces ID. So definitely check that video out. I mean, you can see here, love neon plants. I did mention that I was going to show you neon plants. This is a Philodendron Hederaceum lemon lime. Beautiful plant, one of my favorite plants. I'm so glad that this is actually an easy care and quote common plant. That was only for $16.98 by Costa Farms. But to go back to Green Spaces ID, they will be at PlantCon. And right now, if you go to their Instagram or website, if you are a plant foldie or somebody that's going to be going to PlantCon, you can actually order plants from them and pick them up at PlantCon. So you don't even have to worry about waiting 3 weeks for them to get a photosanitary certificate. You can pick them up at PlantCon. If you saw the video, the plants that I received from Green Spaces ID, high quality plants. I am definitely doing a pickup, so plant foldies, definitely check it out. There is a promo code. Now, if you can't buy plants from Green Spaces ID and pick them up at PlantCon, you can use my promo code Richie20 to get 20% off your purchase. Now over here, we have another Live Trends hanging basket ceramic planter. I love the color, that red color. This is an Epipremnum aureum pearls and jade pothos. Now I have been on a pothos kick. I am collecting pothos again. I am kind of thinking about just some of the plants. I'm all about the easy care plants, you know, plants that aren't fussy, plants that are simple, plants that are easy to propagate, plants that are more accessible. That's really what I'm into. And all of those adjectives actually describe pothos plants or Epipremnum aureum. Like this one right here is an Urban Jungle one. I like the neon pothos or Epipremnum aureum neon. Now remember, with the neon pothos, and you can see this one is trailing, so you can take about 5 cuttings there and create a new plant. Pothos plants are so easy to propagate, but with the neon plant, you definitely want to make sure that you're giving it a lot of light. That's actually for most neon colored plants. Now this is another Live Trends new planter. This is a self-watering planter, but look at how gnarly this is. Look at that. It's a really cool design. Now I wouldn't be as into all of those colors, but the shape of the planter is cool. And then also obviously the plant is a Philodendron Summer Glory. And here's more of a subdued planter. It's a new shape for Live Trends. Really like that tall planter. And that's the thing I want to also do. So when I was in college, I actually majored in advertising and graphic design. I minored in art history and painting. And one of my favorite classes was ceramics. And you can see right here, I thought this was actually a real plant, but it's not. But this is a really cool looking planter of a dog. But to go back to it, I love ceramics, and I would love to be able to get back into ceramics so I can make some of my own custom planters. I think that would be really cool. And then you can see right here, more hanging baskets of pothos plants. And that's the thing, I want to do some more legwork in terms of being able to hang some more hanging basket plants. I think that would be really cool. You know, one of my dreams, you know, when it comes down to my YouTube platform is to really be what you would call a true plant influencer, but somebody that can just really provide a little bit more of their personality and content in my videos. I know that I'm showing all of these beautiful pothos like this marble queen, but I've had a lot of time to really think about what the direction of my my YouTube channel will be. And just know and stick around with me, I will be doing more of my personal plants alongside my big box or plant shopping videos. So plant foldies, if you are ready for that, please leave in the comments what you want to see from me in terms of my plant collection. I know y'all been waiting for my houseplant tour. It's coming. I promise it's coming around. So just definitely check that out. Just make sure you guys are continuing to watch my my plant shopping videos, because for some reason it is very therapeutic for me to just walk around a place like this, like Lowe's, pick up a plant like this. Now I forgot the name of this plant, but this is another plant I really want to buy because number one, I love the look of the leaves. There's that silver, blue, green foliage, and I just feel like this plant would be easy to propagate, and it's just an unusual plant, but I also think that it wouldn't be an easy care plant. So there's just a lot of things that interest me about this plant. I could buy this full price for $16.98, but with PlantCon literally only 2 weeks away as I upload this video, I really want to save every penny I have to be able to buy plants. And you can see that these Better Grow Special Orchid potting mix, I use that specifically to mix into my potting soil to make it a little bit more chunky. And then notice how syngoniums, when you let them grow, they just trail. So you can literally cut them. And this looks like this syngonium didn't get enough like humidity for the leaves to fully unfurl. You can see right over here, this is another Alocasia Silver Dragon by Urban Jungle. So Urban Jungle has been selling some really cool looking Alocasias, $13.98. And for this one right here, $13.98. And what I like about it is you will always find a really pleasant surprise when it comes to Urban Jungle Alocasia. I'm hoping to be able to find a sport variegated one, and you can see this is another Calathea by Urban Jungle as well. Like I really love the look of it, and what's cool is they have the UJ like lettering for that little type, like the little stamp right there. And then you can see over here we have a golden pothos or Epiprimnum aureum golden pothos. Now all of the plants that I picked up by Urban Jungle are for $13.98. Between the Calathea and the golden pothos, I would pick the golden pothos because I know I can keep it alive. Same thing with this really nice looking Peperomia obtusifolia marble. Look at how beautiful that green on green variegation is. And I'll tell you, the more light you provide this particular plant, the more variegated it's going to be. It'll actually get less green and more of a cream color, or maybe even albo. So that's really a nice look of the plant. And then as I pan out here, I love these little smaller hanging baskets. I actually am a bigger fan of the smaller hanging baskets because I feel like there's just more like when you have a large hanging basket, like the $20.98 in Costa Farm ones, like that we're looking up here, there's just more foot space that it takes. And sometimes if you have a smaller space, it really just kind of clutters the area. At least that's what has happened to me with some of my plants. Now over here, we do have a bunch of these Costa Farms exotic angel starter plants. So this is a Photonia Juanita for $5.98. Again, when it comes to like a lot of these Costa Farms exotic angels, they typically are for $5.98 at most big box stores. Like this is a beautiful Dracaena, what is it? A Dracaena Florida Beauty, one of my favorite Dracaenas. I have sent a couple to Plant Heaven, and that's because they are a little bit more thirsty in terms of the watering needs. Most Dracaena are drought tolerant, but that particular Dracaena is not. But you can see right over here, everybody's favorite. This is a Hydra Helix, or what you would call a Hedera Helix English Ivy. Now, if you've watched my video for the first time, I hope I didn't startle y'all, but there is this plant foldy thing where you guys want to just count how many times they say Hydra Helix. But that is a Grow Folds inside joke. So we'll go back into that in a little bit. But as you can see right here, $5.98. Again, this is a beautiful Dracaena Florida Beauty. The thing about this particular Dracaena is the more light you do provide it, the better speckling variegation you'll have. Now, this is another beautiful Rex begonia for $5.98. Like, I'm excited about Rex begonias. I just can't grow begonias, unfortunately, at least the Rex begonias. They tend to just become unalive for me, and then they just end up going to Plant Heaven. Now, this is another false Aralia here. Here's the thing about Aralias. They tend to be easy to take care of. They're not as fussy. But it's another plant that I haven't been able to grow long term. And then over here is a Dracaena marginata bicolor. It's another plant that gets beautiful variegation, especially if you provide it with a lot of bright light. And then over here is another Rex begonia of some sort. Now with Rex begonias, you really don't want to get the stems wet. That's what happens when, it can actually rot the stems and it just ends up dying. And then over here we have a Syngonium of some sort right here. This has some yellowing on the leaves. When you look at some of these plants, like the yellowing on the leaves could also signify that it could be a thrifts or a plant pest. Now this one I almost bought. Look at how beautiful that variegation is on this Dracaena Florida Beauty. Look at that. $5.98. Now actually Target, one of the Targets that are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, North Dallas, ended up selling a bunch of Costa Farms exotic angels, and it was only for $5. Now I know some people will say Target or Target tends to be a little bit more expensive when you come to, when you compare it to Walmart or other big box stores, but they had exotic angels for $5, and that was amazing. And then over here we have a Balferiana Aralia, one of my favorite Aralias, and I've seen the potential of how large it can get and the beauty it can get when I was in the Philippines. I will just say that they become really tall tropical shrubs. And then over here again, we have a Rex begonia. And the thing about Rex begonia is there's so many different hybrids of Rex begonia that there's not a specific plant ID for a lot of them. And then over here we have a pea tree, or a fat shadera, which is basically a hybrid of a Japanese Aralia and an English ivy. And then over here is, for $7.98, is another Dracaena Dorado. Dracaena Dorado is a really cool looking Dracaena. It is another one that gets fairly large. It doesn't have nearly as compact of, growth as some of the other Dracaenas. And you can see right here, we have some more Lucky Bamboo, which is part of the Dracaena family. And then over here, I've noticed that Lowe's has gotten a lot of these like shippers of Live Trends or Live Trend self-watering planters. You can see this is a Philodendron Moonlight, beautiful purple planter, and I like the fact that it's got more of a yellow tone. So yellow and purple are opposite of each other on the color wheel, so they're complementary colors. Really like that. And then also we have another beautiful Ficus Elastica Ruby. These are in self-watering planters, and these are only for $14.98. I do love how healthy, Live Trends plants are, as well as the planters. You can see right here, this is a Ficus ginseng plant in a self-watering planter. I do like that neutral green tone the planter, and then obviously just the neon color plant. So I'm just glad I've been able to run into a lot of neon color plants. And then you can see right here, this is a Live Trends Dragon Scale. Now the white on here, I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if that webbing is spider mites. So I'm going to put it down. Hopefully it doesn't spread with the other plants, but that's another thing. It is a real thing. It's not necessarily the nursery. Sometimes just plants get infected with some plant pests, and that's the reason why whenever you're buying plants and you're looking at them, you want to inspect the leaves. If you see any type of webbing, I would not buy it, because that's a sign of spider mites. To get rid of spider mites, you can spray them down with neem oil, like this one right here. I'm almost tempted to buy this calathea again, because I had a calathea like this, the Calathea rospicta, growing in hydroponics, and it still ended up getting spider mites even though it was in water. Like, that's ambient high humidity. You would think that spider mites hate humidity, so I don't know why it still ended up getting humidity. Sometimes I think certain plants are just really not meant for me to grow, like Hydra helix or Hydra helix, English ivy. They can't grow for me. And that's some of the frustrations about certain plants. But then I had to really think about, certain plants that do well for me that don't do well for others, like coleus plants, for instance. Everybody says coleus plants are a basic plant, it's an easy plant, but some people can't grow coleus. So maybe it just depends on the person. I don't know, plant foldies. Let me know what you think about that. If there are certain plants that you have friends that can grow really easily, and then there's certain plants that you grow easily that some people can't. Like my grandmother, she can grow begonias. It's super easy for her, but for me, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Now over here, plant foldies, you can see there are several different types of Costa Farms plants. Costa Farms has had a lot of these combination planters. So you can see right here, we've got a Croton Gold Dust with some type of palm, with some type of Snow White Waffle. And so I don't know if I'm really a big fan of combination planters. Plant folies, let me know if you mix and match planters in the same pot. I tend to like to just keep plants in one planter. Like over here, this is for $13.98. This is the common blooming anthurium, just a red variety. I do like the blooms. This is actually one of the more easier anthuriums to really grow. And then you can see right here, we've got a beautiful Epipremnum alplicimum silver stripe pothos. I like that a lot. I definitely want to get more of that plant. I just like that silvery foliage. That's another thing, silver foliage plants, or that like Cebu blue pothos looking foliage, is a really nice touch to a plant collection. But as you can see here, this is beautiful. I love all of the healthy looking blooming anthuriums. So plant foldies, let me know what you think of this particular Lowe's. If you're a plant foldie that lives out in McKinney, have you been to this Lowe's? Please let me know. Now we're gonna go to another location, and this is the Sprouts off of McKinney, Texas, grocery store plant shopping. This is just north of Custer Road. So this one is actually about a 10-minute drive just north of that Lowe's I went to, and that's why I feel like I am just really fortunate to be able to have all of these places to look at plants. Being based out in North Dallas is awesome because I have so many options to look at that. So if you are a local plant foldie and you just haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, because you will stay up to date with all of the plant pricing and what types of plants are hitting the Dallas-Fort Worth area market. But Sprouts, this is just going to be a quick, a look at what we have here. And it looks like they did get a new shipment, and they have a bunch of these self-watering planters of these anthuriums. Now, I don't know what this particular anthurium is, but what I do know about this anthurium is it's beautiful. I love the texture. It almost reminds me of like Monstera Peru vibes. These are only for $19.99. Now, here's the secret about this particular Sprouts. Give it about a week or two, and this will probably get reduced substantially. I have been able to get plants for like 99 cents here. This is where I got my ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf for 99 cents. I've been able to get some really cool like hanging baskets, ceramic planters by either Urban Jungle Live Trends for like $3. So I always like to look at this particular Sprouts because they always cycle out their plants. They tend to just kind of like liquidate them and really drop the prices. So if you do have a Sprouts in your local area, I would definitely recommend shopping there. Like right now, they have these plants for $9.99. These are Sansevieria plants by Live Trends. This is a new one. You can see that there is a bunch of these wooden plants right there. I just really am not a fan of the fake moss topping. I am a fan of this though, and I love the shape of this, and I even like the look of that wood that this planter is. But this is a nice ZZ Zenzi plant, so it's a more compact version of a ZZ plant. Everybody needs a ZZ plant. And then you can see here is another Live Trends planter. This is some type of, I believe, anthurium for, I believe, $12.99. So that's not a bad price at all, actually, for a Live Trends planter. Just the planter alone is, you know, really stylish. But it looks like all of these plants, like this one right here, is for $12.99. But I've been able to buy a hanging basket like this at this particular Sprout for like $3. So I'm gonna wait around and see if they actually put this on sale. Now that one is a pearls and jade pothos. Part of me really wants to just create a hanging basket or like a hanging pole to where I can just have a bunch of hanging plants. So we'll see what that looks like. But I don't know. I haven't been able to grow a lot of hanging baskets because I don't want to drill a lot of holes in my my ceiling. Now over here is another plant. This is a Denanthe Gray Star, beautiful plant, love that. And then this is a Stramanthe Trio Star. Now all of these Calathea Stramanthes that we're looking at this Sprouts is for $19.99. So I'm gonna wait a little bit to see if that will get reduced. Now I do have a Stramanthe Trio Star, and it's actually done very well for me. I haven't really given it a lot of care, and it's still doing well. Now over here for $7.99, you can see that this is an Alocasia Black Velvet. Now you can see over here there are some webbing and spiders, you know, webbing on it. So this is probably infected with spider mites. Definitely can't buy any plants in that area. Again, plant foldies, that's not a call out on the Live Trends or Urban Jungles. It just happens with certain plants. You know, when you think about plants that are in big box stores, they're not really getting the best care. And that's really not to blame the big box or the grocery store. It's just the fact of it. You know, there are other priorities that that particular shop might have. Although I would buy this. Look at how beautiful this Dracaena Hurricane is. It is one of my favorites, and mine is doing extremely well. But to go back to my thoughts about, you know, plant pests, that's why you just have to be very careful when you're buying big box stores. I never put a plant in my plant collection from buying a big box store without spraying it with my neem oil DIY spray. I call it the Plant Foldy Mist. And basically to make that is you get a conventional spray bottle, 2 tablespoons of cold pressed neem oil, 2 tablespoons of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, 2 tablespoons of hydrogen peroxide, a drop of, a drop of dish soap, and you are good to go. Put it in water, you know, fill it up with water and shake, 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 spray it on your plant, and it is good to go. But anyways, I am now going to another grocery store, and this one is the Kroger off of Custer Road. So this is further down south from Sprouts. This is one of my favorite ones. Now this one is in Frisco, Texas, but literally this is across the street from one of my favorite grocery stores to shop at, and that's going to be H-E-B. I'm going to show you plants from H-E-B as well. So basically you could see that I have just kind of filmed throughout the day. It is getting a little bit darker at night, but my thing about this particular Kroger marketplace is it has given me some really good plants. So if I'm able to find some plants that I'm looking for, I may end up just buying it. I know that I always say this in a lot of my videos where I say like no plant buy. Back in the day, like when I was actually doing plant shopping videos, I was always buying plants every single time I went filming, and that wasn't good because it was really busting my budget. I will say that your viewership and also your comments, likes, and supports have really helped fund some of my budget because I do get some monetary gain from it, to be fully transparent. So I appreciate that. It does help my my plant budget, but you can see, I mean, like I would buy this right there. That is a Calathea Rospicta, again, beautiful looking one. Now that one I believe is for $9.99, which is not bad. Again, that's Mason Farms, and that's the problem. You go to a grocery store like Kroger Marketplace and you'll find some really good pricing. Now they have a bunch of like assorted succulents. I believe this is for $4.99. But you know, plant foldies, do you ever find yourself just like not wanting to buy a plant, but then you just get suckered into buying a plant because you feel like you need the plant? Even with pothos plants, like I really thought about buying this pothos plant. This though is for $19.99. Now, for a $19.99 pothos, it needs to be bigger than a 6-inch planter. I don't think that's the best pricing for it, because you can even buy an Urban Jungle hanging basket of pothos at least at Kroger for $12.99. Now this is another Monstera adansonii wide form. Now with the Monstera adansonii wide form, that is another one of my favorite types of Monstera adansonii. But like I said again, when you look at this, This is a Philodendron Imperial Gold for $9.99. Now I remember seeing this, but this one looks like it was just recently restocked with a brand new one. So plant foldies, I told you I'd show you some neon plants. That is one of the first neon plants that I might just end up buying today. We're gonna just see. And then right over here is another one, but I read the label. It's actually a Philodendron Sun Red. Now, whenever I looked at Philodendron Sun Red, it's not as neon, but I can see there is a difference. You can see that the leaf, the new leaves unfurling is a little bit more orangey, I guess. Now, I think, you know, for $9.99, that is not a bad price at all. And you got to think, I think that there are several plants, maybe 4 or 5 in here for $9.99. So that's not a bad price at all. Now with both philodendrons, they don't necessarily need to have a pole to climb on, or at least from what I've read about those philodendrons. So we'll see, but that's definitely piqued my interest. Now this is another plant that I do like. I currently don't have this one anymore. I ended up not watering it as frequently as it needed, so it ended up going to plant heaven. But this one is for $9.99. This is a Polea plant, or a aluminum plant. Really like the look of that. And this is another plant that's easy to propagate. It actually prefers higher humidity. And then over here we've got a Epiprenum aureum golden pothos, another beautiful plant. It's an easy to care for plant. It's a plant, again, what I would tell you, plant foldies, is one that you really definitely need to add to your collection. Now over here is a lemon button plant, and then over here is a Hydra helix. This is a variegated form for only $9.99, and it actually has some nice trailing already. I would say this is either the gold coin baby Hydra helix or Hedera helix, however you want to say it. If you're a plant foldy, you already know we've got to say Hydra helix. And I guess for those that really dislike me saying it, I have tried to reduce the amount of times. I know some folks have actually sent me a direct message saying it's like very cringe, and they stopped watching my YouTube channel. I understand that maybe that might not be for everybody's, but you know, there's a certain level where you can take, you know, some feedback, but then you also want to stay authentic to yourself. So that's why, you know, Hedera helix is here to stay. I've just kind of toned it down slightly. That's all I'm going to say about that one. But anyways, as you can see here, this is another beautiful, this is a legitimate Enjoy pothos. So, you know, we see this as pearls and jade for $13.99. This is not a pearls and jade pothos, because you can clearly see that there is a higher, more contrast in the variegation. This is one of the slower pothos to grow though, and it doesn't get nearly as large of a leaf unless you put it on a moss pole. And then I actually was thinking about buying this Aglaonema, and here's the reason why. This is $13.99. This is Aglaonema Mary Ann, because the leaves almost look like a Maria, but this one has more of a silver foliage. I have been reinvigorated to collect alocasias. Let's just say some of my alocasias I had earlier this year got super leggy, got super just got super unhealthy, that some of them are in the rehab process. Some of them have made it to plant heaven. And, you know, that's the thing. But I love Aglaonema because, you know, they are easy care plants. I just happened to push the button to put to the point where I literally didn't water them for more than a month. And I mean, any plant, unless they're a succulent, is not going to be able to just withstand not being watered. And as embarrassing as that sounds, as embarrassing as how much money I may have lost by sending that plant to plant heaven because I simply didn't take my watering can and water the plant, or taken the plant and brought them into my shower to just, you know, water them pretty fast. It's something that I'm willing to accept. It's something that I have learned to kind of deal with, and it's something that I'm going to continue to talk about. I am celebrating the fact that I have been very consistent about watering my plants the last 2 weeks. You know, I take them, especially on my day off. I'm usually off on Tuesdays. I will take them into the shower and literally just get batches where I water them with a handheld shower head, get them soaked. And then what I do is if they need to get fertilized, I'll fertilize them with some Miracle Grow fertilizer, and then take my plant foliage mist spray the tops of the soil down, the undersides of the leaves, the tops of the leaves, let it kind of sit there and dry, and then put them back into where they are. And I haven't had any pests, and I've seen a lot of new growth, and they've been super happy. So really excited about that. Then that's the reason why I feel like plant foldies, just as beautiful as this Phalaenopsis orchid is, I am ready to show you my beautiful plant collection. I'm pretty proud of it. I'm actually looking at some of my plants as I do this voiceover, and I do want Plant YouTube to see it, to see Growfold's plants. So definitely stay tuned for that. It is coming, and it's probably going to actually premiere when you least expect it. But so many things to really be excited about. Like, I'm even excited that I went to this Kroger again. Now, I've seen these Monstera Perus. Now, if you ever want the cheapest Costa Farms trending tropical self-watering planters, go to go to a grocery store like Kroger. They are selling them for $16.99. Most big box stores will sell them for like $19.84 or $20.84. Kroger, at least the Kroger grocery stores I've been to, they sell them for $16.99, and sometimes they reduce them even more depending on either the staff member that's running it, or they have like I guess a cycle of clearance. Like this one right here, if this was actually half off, I would buy this Monstera Sedliana. I do have one. What I did discover about Monstera Sedliana is if it doesn't get a lot of light, it's kind of similar to an Epipremnum pinnatum Cebu Blue. It shoots runners, and I ended up just like chopping up, and I'm currently propagating the nodes as kind of like a wet stick propagation. Now over here is a Peperomia camouflage. I do like the look of a Peperomia camouflage. Now this one is influenced by more of the amount of light you provide it to get more of that green on green variegation, and this saddens me, and this is the reason why it saddens me. These are beautiful Philodendron verrucosums. The only thing is nobody is gonna buy a Philodendron verrucosum for $29.99 with the way this looks. And even though this plant is still what would be considered a uncommon plant, I just don't think that Kroger will sell these. Like, I would totally buy these. Like, if I could actually find the person who reduces the plants, I would honestly straight up ask them, if you reduce the price for these Philodendron verrucosums, I would totally buy like one or two. I remember seeing a bunch of some beautiful Philodendron snowdrifts, and they had them on sale for $19.99. Then they reduced them to $14.99, but they had a whole table of them, and then they disappeared. So I don't know if number one, they reduced it and I wasn't there, or number two, there was some type of liquidation process where they might have just ended up in the trash. So not 100% sure, but it does pain me to see beautiful Philodendron verrucosums. Like this one already has some leaf damage. And the thing about it is those velvety texture Philodendrons tend to get more like spider mite prone, or they just end up getting yellowing. Now this also gets spider mites. This Hedera helix, or Hedera helix, this is another common plant you'll find at Kroger. So like if you ever see me filming a Kroger plant shopping video, you already know I will say Hedera helix. Now some people have noticed I haven't said it as much, but in this video, I feel like I've let the cannons loose, and you've heard me say Hedera helix. So anyways, this is a Sansevieria Victoria. I thought it was like a Sansevieria whale fin for $13.99. I do have this similar Sansevieria. I have a whale fin I've had for about 4 years. Easy plant, interesting plant. It shoots out a lot of little pups that I could potentially separate. And then this is a Peperomia piccolo. Really nice looking Peperomia. Again, it has a nice leaf interest on it. I really like the veining, but I also love that aqua green marine silver tone it has. There's just certain colors on plants that I like. I would say pink plants are my number one favorite. Then I like dark foliage plants. And then I like plants that are neon. Those are really my main three. But then again, when it comes to variegation, I actually like more of a green on green variegation, if you're gonna ask me variegation. Now, this is that Philodendron hederaceum hanging basket I was talking about. So I saw this a couple days back, and I'm glad that it's still here. I'm actually debating on whether I should buy this for $12.99 or if I should buy those beautiful philodendrons that are for $9.99. So like, You guys let me know what you think. At this moment, would you buy the Philodendron hederaceum hanging basket for $12.99, this beautiful specimen here, or the two philodendrons, the Philodendron Imperial Gold and then Philodendron Red Sun, both for $9.99. So I'm curious to see what you guys are thinking, but that is really the dilemma. I think I am definitely going to buy a plant today. It's just something that I want to do. I feel like I deserve it. I'm going to treat myself to it. And lo and behold, look at this, hidden in the corner. This is a Philodendron Red Sun, and this one looks really nice as well for $9.99 in a 4.5-inch planter. That's a really good deal because Philodendron Red Suns, when you buy it from like proven winners at Home Depot, they're for $19.99. So I can justify buying a Philodendron Red Sun for $9.99. It is another easy care plant, and that's the thing with most philodendrons, unless they are the velvety types like the Philodendron gloriosum, Philodendron Philodendron verrucosum. These plants are easy. And then look at this, they come in pairs. So this is a Philodendron Imperial Gold. This one may need a little bit more light just because it has more of like a neon green tone versus yellow. And you know, you can fix that by either putting these plants to grow at a south facing window where it gets really good light, or a west facing window, or better yet, you can get a grow light. So some of the grow lights I actually use are Sansi grow lights. That's really the main grow light I use. So if you're curious to see what that looks like, I do have a couple of videos that feature Sansi grow light. They actually sent me some grow lights to review. They're doing awesome, and I need to see what their promo code is to get a discount. I think it's for 60% off. So plant foldies, if you're interested in buying Sansi grow lights, definitely let me know. Let me see if I can find my promo code. And that's the interesting thing is I have been really fortunate that there are several people that have started to reach out to me in terms of doing collabs, in terms of doing sponsorships. So if you are somebody that wants to do a collab or sponsorship, please send me a direct message on Instagram. I am usually all for it unless it's some type of scam. Please stay away. I only want to deal with legitimate people with, you know, really good business practices. But you can see here, going back to these philodendrons, I don't know, like plant foldies, would you buy that Philodendron Sun Red or the other one that was a little bit larger? I'm going to go back to it. But then again, here again is another Hydra Helix. This one is a nice looking Hedera Helix. Now, my plant care tips for English ivy is you need to just grow these outside. If you grow them outside in an area that gets bright morning light and you water it from using a hose, you're not going to get spider mites. You're going to probably get a lot of new growth, and it's just going to grow for you. If you bring it indoors, however, you're going to need to spray it a bunch with a bunch of neem oil on it, put it next to a humidifier, put a grow light on it, and maybe, just maybe, that English ivy will survive. That's how much plant care you have to do for a Hedera Helix or English ivy. Now this pothos plant, super easy, bright light if you can, but it can tolerate lower light conditions. Now this is another interesting plant for $9.99. This is just a green form of a Hoya carrii. Now I was able to find a variegated Hoya carrii at Kroger. So I ended up buying it, and it was only for like $13.99. But you know, whenever you think about Hoya carrii, I just love the shape of the leaf. It is a legitimate heart. And then obviously the other plant that I picked up after the Hedera Helix was a Crusala. Or jade plant. Love jade plants as well. And then you can just see there is just an assortment of golden pothos. Now, not all golden pothos are as variegated as some. Like this one has a pretty good variegation, but I've even seen some that are even more variegated. So if you provide pothos with a lot of light, I've seen pothos actually grow out in full sun in a tropical country like the Philippines. They actually like to grow up on trees, and that's when they get really large leaves and start to fenestrate. And again, for those that are new to the term fenestrate, that means the leaf actually gets larger and it actually starts to split. And the reason why it splits is because it wants to provide the light to shine through the leaves into the lower branches or the lower leaves that are closer to the ground. Now over here, we do have a zebra plant. I don't know, plant foldies, why I'm just not interested in even buying a zebra plant. Now, I've been told that a zebra plant can be finicky, I'm not sure why. So if you have grown a zebra plant and it did give you some challenges, please let me know what makes it challenging. Again, plant foldies, it is all about those comments. I know that a lot of you guys will chat away in the chat, but if you can do me a favor, definitely hit the like button, but also leave as many comments on the videos as possible. That kind of lets YouTube know that there is some engagement, and you already know if you guys are already engaging on the live chat, let's go ahead and do that on the comments. I love responding to every single one of y'all, but I also am just, I don't know, that just looking at those varicosums, those philodendron varicosums, I just wish they would go ahead and like reduce them to $5. I would buy 2 or 3 of them. I might even do a plant giveaway. And speaking of which, I am so excited that we are like about 25 subscribers away from making it to 10,000 subscribers. I definitely will do a rare plant giveaway. I did a Monstera Thai constellation, a variegated domesticanum giveaway, and I don't know what's the next plant I'm going to do a giveaway. But stay tuned for my Instagram, because I also want to celebrate the fact that I finally broke 1,000 followers on Instagram. So if you have Instagram, super cool, because that's really where I do a lot of my announcements for the YouTube channel. Sometimes I'll post on the YouTube community, but I tend to like Instagram. And so if you are a diehard plant foldie, please create an Instagram if you don't have it. That's the fastest way to get to me in terms of just direct messaging me. So definitely check that out. But again, plant foldies, that's the question. I ended up buying that philodendrons, both of those philodendrons right there. And then this is the last spot. This is the HEB off of Costa Road in McKinney, Texas. It is almost nighttime. I literally drove across the street to go to this place because I heard that they got another restock. Now, this is the same Home Depot. I said Home Depot. I'm sorry. HEB. Sorry. HEB that had gotten the variegated domesticanum, philodendron strawberry shake, just a bunch of plants. So we're gonna pan away and just kind of see what they have. So it looks like they've got, wow, a hanging basket of Hydra Helix. Look at that English ivy, just a green version. Now these hanging baskets, which are 10-inch plant hanging baskets, larger than the typical 8, is only for $16.99. That is not a bad price at all. Now, if I didn't know how fussy this English ivy would be, like if I didn't know that, I would totally buy 1 or 2 and think that I could just grow it indoors and let it trail and make it look like a centerpiece. But alas, I know that it is a difficult plant to grow. Now this is awesome. Now you talk about Epipremnum aureum or golden pothos getting large. This is a result of when it starts to get larger when you grow it up the pole. So these are what you call totem pothos, and I prefer to see pothos actually growing up a pole, because look at this. So the lower leaves are smaller. These are for $64.49. Okay, now that's a little bit pricey, but this is about 3.5 feet tall, and you can see that the leaves have gotten larger. So we're just gonna see what they have, but it looks like they just got these here. Now the thing about growing a pothos plant on a moss pole or a totem pole, the leaves don't necessarily get large by just growing up. It needs to have the aerial roots actually attached to the surface. So it looks like they've got some type of pole that holds up to it. Now what I like to do is actually take a plant that I want the aerial roots to attach by putting a humidifier right next to the moss pole, so that it encourages the aerial roots to kind of attach to it. Now I did buy this last week for $5. Look at how beautiful this full syngonium planter is, and mine is doing very well. I ended up, spraying it down with neem oil. And that's the thing about syngoniums. They can be a fussy plant when you don't water them consistently. They are pretty fast growing. There are certain varieties that are not, but for the most part, they're easy. But like this one right here, look at how beautiful it is. $5 for a silver band marantha. And, that's a really good deal, especially in that, gray terracotta planter. Really like the look of that. Very modern looking. They kind of look like the wild interiors ones, but you can see right here they do have some some totems of some Epipremnum golden pothos. Can you imagine growing like a marble queen pothos or an enjoy pothos with that sizing? And look at this. This is for $16.99. We have a forest of Hydra helix. Look at that. That is insane. And it kind of reminds me of some of those walls that you'll see in England or the UK, where they literally have English ivy just crawling up a whole wall. And while this is in a variegated form, you know, the reason why I like English ivy is because they do remind me of maple leaves, and maple leaves, they just look really cool. I love maple trees. I actually collect a bunch of Japanese maples, so that's another interest that I will also put back into my YouTube channel. And I also like miniature variegated roses. Now this is only for $3.98. Which to me, if you're looking to save money on like floral plants, I would shop at H-E-B. I would shop at grocery stores like Kroger. And it's just so cool that they're literally across the street from each other. So if you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want to like hit up all of these places, you can literally do it, because all of these places that I've visited are within 5 to 10 minutes away on the same street. So check it out. If you want to go up to McKinney/Frisco, just go up Custer Road and you will see that Home Depot. You'll see that H-E-B that I'm in. You'll see that Kroger, and you'll see that Sprout. And then you'll also see a Walmart that I also film, and a Home Depot and a Lowe. So just many places. It's really easy. And these are only for $12.99. This is an Aglaonema Maria. Now those white little speckles underneath might look like mealybugs. So again, I don't want to call out the actual grocery store. It's literally, you have to be very cautious about your plants. And you know, whenever I do plant shopping videos, and I know it sounds silly, same thing with this Aglaonema Red Siam, $12.99, is I don't go near my plants when I get home. I literally run to the shower and make sure I shower, put my clothes in the washer to get ready to wash, because sometimes plant pests are literally because you've exposed yourself to a plant pest, and then you go home, it might get into your hair, it might get into your hands, it might get onto your clothes. And that's how sometimes plant pests make it into a home. I know that sounds really crazy, but I've had moments where my whole plant collection was destroyed, for instance, by mealybugs. Like I just couldn't control it. It sounds really disgusting. And that's the reason why whenever I do my big box store plant shopping videos, I definitely want to make sure that I'm cleaned up before I get around my plants. Call me silly, but that's really the extent of my plant pest prevention. I think that that's the reason why a lot of people get frustrated, is when they get infiltrations of like plant pest. I've been on top of my neem oil. My plant foliage spray really does work, and it's very cost effective. Now you can see over here plant foliage, just there's a lot of plants, and I love that I saw a bunch of kalanchoe. We got some gerbera daisies. These are always a staple as well. Now I always think, do these need to be outdoors? Now these are for only $10.99. Now if you're gonna ever buy flowers for me, just buy me a flowering plant like an Azalea Simpsonii or an indoor azalea. But over here is a smaller Epipremnum aureum pothos totem. Now this one, I believe, look at how beautiful that is. That is so cool. I love the vertical line it creates. I like height in some of my plants, and this one is a really nice looking variegated one, so you can see that this is more of that neon color. Now plant foliage, would you buy this plant? I am set on buying this. This is for $24.99. Not a bad price at all. And honestly, the reason why I want to buy it is because I want that instant gratification. I don't want to have to wait for my pothos plant to really grow. So plant foliage, let me know what you think about this video today. As always, please hit that like button. This is Richie at Growfolds. I'll have another brand new big box or plant shopping video tomorrow, and my collab is going to premiere soon. I'll see you then. Bye.